I want you to think about the last technical tool you had to learn and adopt in your stack. Did you choose it or did someone else? Did you pick it because it sounded cool or because you had a use case that could not otherwise be solved? Did you already know how to use it or did you have to read someone's cryptic documentation to get up to speed? Could you explain the value it provides and the trade-offs accepted by taking on the tool? In the world of software and technology, tools are essential. We use them every day to build, maintain, improve our systems. But just like any other tool, they come into their own with a set of advantages and disadvantages. It's easy to focus on the benefits of some shiny new tool, but overlook the potential downsides. Remember, every tool has a cost, not in terms of just money, but also in terms of time, effort, complexity. So before you jump on the bandwagon and adopt the latest tool, the greatest thing, let's take a step back. Let's consider its net value. Does it truly solve your problem, or are we just adding another layer of complexity to an already intricate system? When you choose a tool, it becomes part of your ecosystem. It's not just a one-time purchase, it's an ongoing commitment. You have to maintain it and upgrade it and ensure it continues to work seamlessly with all of your other tools. And that's why I think tools have a kind of ripple effect, because they enable other people to build on top of them, creating a dependency layer. And what happens when the tool reaches end of life? If you built upon that, what happens when the company stops supporting it? I think these are all critical questions to ask yourself before you adopt a new tool. Because remember, the tool you choose today will have implications for your system and your team for years to come. For example, just today I was reading that CloudFormation users are finally able to use a technology called stack refactoring, which I've added a link in the description. There's also the idea of tool sprawl. I love the word sprawl, it's such a fun word. These can have a significant cognitive impact on your team, the mental load that we all have to carry in order to run our systems and build on them. The more tools you have, the more time you spend managing those tools, and the less time you have for actual value-added work, the kind of reason we're all here. In fact, I was reading the GitLab 2024 Global DevSecOps report, man, that's a tongue twister, and it said that 36% of organizations use 5 or fewer tools for software development. That means 2/3 of people are using more, and that's a lot of tools, right? It's essential to find the right balance. I think the 80-20 rule is a good guideline. I try to spend no more than 20% of my time on tool maintenance, I'll say, just generically having to care and feed for them. Because remember, tools should enable you to do your job better, not become the job itself. Now, when you're faced with a problem, you kind of have two choices. You can make a tool or you can buy a tool. Both options have pros and cons. Making a tool gives you control. It's your tool. You can do with it what you want. But you're trading in the time and effort of maintaining it. And even simple tools are going to require that. On the other hand, buying tools does save you that time, but now you're dependent on a vendor, updates, support, and really whatever they think should be in the tool is what you got. Now, there's no one-size-fits-all answer, but personally, I like making small modular tools that solve general, widely felt pain. I think being a tool maker is a lot of the job of being in infrastructure and engineering, especially tools that make the platform easier to operate. The operations tend to be an area where the tools have a lot of bang for their buck, such as I need tools to retrieve well-known names, secrets, variables for systems of record. I need infrastructure level unit testing and visibility. These can often be created by you and your team, and then you put them in your CI/CD pipeline, you make them work for you. It's not too much trouble. So let's say you've done all of that. You found the tool, it matches, you love it, you want to implement it. You've got a tool and some processes to go around it. What's next? It's time to get buy-in from your team. And this is crucial. Not only the team, but the stakeholders that are going to be involved with this tool. So you have to think through your communication strategy, potential objections that are going to be raised, and how do you create documentation to enable your team? To start, I'd recommend constructing an ADR, or architecture decision record. This is a document that's going to capture all the important decisions as well as context and consequences of those decisions. So commonly what you're going to find in an ADR are, the title and the date of what's going on, the status, whether it's been a proposed decision or accepted or deprecated, but then the context, right? What is the situation? Why are we forced to make this decision? What is the decision that is being made? And what is the status of that decision? What are some consequences, both positive and negative, to this decision, right? It can't just all be good. There's always a downside to implementing a new tool. And the justification, right? What's the reasoning behind this decision? This is going to be a time capsule that your team now and later will uncover to understand, why did we make this decision? Start with a well-defined problem statement and a use case. Clearly outline the advantages and disadvantages of your approach, because you got to be transparent about the trade-offs involved. People are going to know you're full of crap if everything's rosy and amazing with this tool. Explain why you didn't choose others. Take a comprehensive look at the ecosystem, right? Don't just choose it because it's the tool you know. Look around. It's a great time to do a comparison to what else is out there. Now, when I consulted, tool-related ADRs were the first ones I wrote for a number of reasons. One, it typically boils down what is commonly an emotional or heated conversation, and it calms it down. It makes it logical and rational, and it eases people into the concept of an ADR. Second, explain why you chose your tool and why you didn't choose other tools. This is going to demonstrate that you've considered alternatives. And third, everyone is being heard. They understand why the choices are being made, and cooler heads are often going to prevail in this situation. Another key component to selling your idea to the team is design review meetings. Collaboration is key, right? We want to involve all the relevant parties. We want product owners and developers and platform engineers and support staff that have to deal with this stinking tool, right? We want all of them in the design meeting. And that might be foreign for them. These people might not talk a lot together, right? They may not collaborate a lot together. So you get to be the catalyst that makes that happen. I would recommend encouraging open discussion, ask probing questions, right? You're not there to get them to all say, yes, we love it. We want to uncover potential concerns and objections, and we want to address these concerns proactively so that we're prepared to adapt the approach based on feedback. Heck, you may find there's a better idea. And then finally, documentation should be on your list. I mentioned that earlier. Clear, concise documentation is going to be the way that your tool gets adopted. If you provide detailed use cases, instructions on how to use the tool effectively, you're going to go much further than others. So consider using tools like Scribe, or Atlassian has Loom, TechSmith has Snagit, and Microsoft has Clipchamp, I believe, for making runbooks or use case tools that are going to provide step-by-step guidance. People will follow these and go, oh, this is pretty cool. I'm actually very into this tool. Thumbs up. Are you ready to taco about tacos? Sorry, no, there'll be no more puns, I promise. Tacos are Terraform automation and collaboration software. Realistically, you take Terraform as your core component for infrastructure as code, and you wrap a lot of additional features, governance, compliance, security, just things. I'll be blunt, I'm not a huge fan. So I wanted to explore a little bit about why that is. First off, I see large enterprises tend to choose tacos, and that makes sense. That GitLab report that I referenced said that security was #1 top priority for all organizations. Buying something that can provide that governance and security that I talked about makes sense. If you've got some crazy stringent security requirements and multiple teams overseeing infrastructure and just generally chaos, maybe Terraform entered your world as a tool and it went wild, which happens quite a bit, right? Somebody has a laptop, they write a little bit of Terraform, and it just goes bananas from there. Tacos can be appealing. And I think also, if you're a team that, hey, I want self-service infrastructure, I don't want to learn Terraform or get too deep into it, or I've got a whole bunch of different cloud providers because we, emanate everybody under the sun. Sure, I can see it. I'm not saying that tacos are inherently bad, but I don't think they're essential for everyone. And I don't think they provide value for a lot of folks that aren't heavily regulated enterprises operating some massive sprawling machine. So I tend to avoid these kind of tacos platforms for a number of reasons. One, governance and security are typically things that you can get through either open policy agent, through integration of AI tools into your CI/CD pipeline, through enforcing security through code reviews and approvals, and just kind of doing software development in a more controlled manner. Same with state management. Terraform has state that's kind of a receipt of everything that gets built into a cloud environment or whatever it's managing. And you can very easily restrict access to that. You can store state in more controlled environments. It costs you nothing to do this. You should be doing these practices anyways. And again, put these processes into your CI/CD pipelines. That's what they're there for. I'm also concerned when I see about the need to scale teams and reducing Terraform knowledge requirements and just letting someone else handle that. I don't think you should give that kind of operational knowledge away. I think the better approach is to maintain reusable Terraform modules that enforce best practices for you. I think that if you avoid mono repos, that's another great thing to do that obviates the need for tacos platforms. And really constructing blueprints, right? Having a set of well-defined ways that you build as a company allows you to build at scale. So I just generally think that giving away the concepts that really make a large environment scale well and obviating that by just paying for it ends up being a short-term win and a long-term loss. It's expensive. It means that you don't really have personnel that understand how these things work at a deeper level. It means that your company is really just a reflection of your tacos vendor, right? You're going to look like them because they are building what runs the heart of your business. And I think that even beyond CI/CD, employing a combination of people, automation, and AI, along with code reviews and approvals, obviates most of those concerns. So in my view, if you possess expertise in Terraform, you have invested in robust CI/CD workflows, you're into GitOps practices and you're using those, tacos is probably not necessary. You're going to want to invest in effective state management. You're going to want to utilize CI/CD to really be your traffic cop, right? Approvals, policy checks, all that kind of jazz. You're going to want to have some Terraform knowledge in-house and use things like RBAC and IAM roles in GitHub and AWS respectively to control who's doing what and limit that access. Again, you're going to need that regardless, whether it be for infrastructure or not. And yes, I'm speaking through experience here. I've built many platforms, both from scratch and to migrate off of an existing platform into a new one, where we leverage native GitHub and native GitLab and native Terraform tools. The benefit is that we really shrink the number of tools. We're using 2, 3, 4, 5 tools tops to handle all infrastructure from landing zones all the way to deploying applications. But it also means the platform engineering team and the support teams are working directly with these tools and molding them to their use cases without having to then try to shuffle in another tool and kind of work within the bounds of what Tacos provides. The other tool-related thing that I wanted to spice up a bit was infrastructure wrappers and the consideration around using infrastructure wrappers. And by that, I mean things like Terragrunt and Atmos. Now, again, I think these tools do have enticing benefits. I don't think they're all bad or all good. Again, craftsman approach. There's pros and cons to everything. But I think it's pretty crucial to approach them with the discerning eyeball, right? You got to weigh those potential drawbacks carefully. I stay the heck away from infrastructure wrappers. I think by their nature, they're going to introduce an additional layer of abstraction and dependency on top of your infrastructure as code tools. So again, we're building those dependency layers. That means that you're not just reliant on Terraform, right, for the proper functioning of your chosen infrastructure as code stack, but also the wrapper itself and the integration that that wrapper has with your existing setup or those tools. And now we're talking about potentially another point of failure. There's additional complexities and vulnerabilities that you're introducing into your stack. Now, in my experience, the benefits of these wrappers have not outweighed the added complexity they introduce. I've had to critically evaluate whether to use specific features and functionalities offered by these wrappers for my project's requirements and whether they justify the trade-offs, and they didn't. So I'm really into simpler, more direct approaches, working directly with your infrastructure as code tools, removing these intermediary layers, because it's going to mean that you have a more manageable and less error-prone infrastructure. The ultimate goal should be to leverage these tools effectively to manage your infrastructure efficiently. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Thoughtfully Critical and the use of video, trying it out, giving it a shot. Do me a favor, tell a friend, let somebody know that this is happening, share it with them, and review the podcast on the platform of your choice if you would be so kind. Thank you very much. Let's talk again soon. Peace and love.